Good morning. It's just about 10 minutes before 8 o'clock now. 28 degrees is your forecast high for later today. Randi Bergman is here. She's the online editor at Fashion Magazine. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're talking about Olympic fashion, really, and the fact that people may not be aware that some of these outfits that people have been wearing when they were coming in for the opening ceremonies are very high-end designers.
Yeah, actually this year we've had a bunch of major designers involved with the Olympic uniforms and the opening ceremony uniforms. We've had Stella Mccartney, who's a huge name on the fashion industry, Armani, Prada, Hermes, all of the biggest names pretty much.
Right. I guess for someone like, let's start with Armani, he would want to get involved because it's a representation of everything that Italy does well, I guess, at the Olympics. So you also want a representation of what they're wearing to be the best.
Exactly. I mean, Italy, one of their biggest industries is fashion. It's actually, I think it contributes to 30% of their economy, so it's actually kind of a bigger statement than it might be for other countries. Armani got involved. I mean, it's a natural fit. Everybody knows the name. He's got a classic aesthetic. He does sportswear very well, so it's just sort of a natural fit. What he did with the uniforms, it sort of depends on which designers did which uniform that they did. He chose to sort of not be quite literal and do, you know, he sort of subtracted the green from the equation and he just chose sort of like black, red, white, simple.
Right. With the UK, as you mentioned, Stella McCartney designed performance and podium outfits, but the opening ceremony outfit was by Next, a high street label.
Yeah, and actually it's funny because there was it's funny that Stella McCartney did this, she did the performance wear and the podium, and she did, you know, she had a classic take on the Union Jack. There was actually a bit of controversy because she subtracted the red from the equation. You know, on one hand, Italy didn't really have a problem with that, but I guess the Brits sort of had a heritage thing.
Red, white, and blue.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the podium, the opening ceremony outfits were these, I don't know if you remember.
They were gold, right? With embellished around the lapel.
Yeah, they had.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I actually thought it was you know, it was a nice statement, you know, going for the gold very literally. I thought it was flashy. You could see it from a mile away. But a lot of people sort of called them Elvis uniforms, thought they were a little bit tacky, at which point Stella jumped in and tweeted that she did not do those uniforms, and then they were Next.
Do these designers do this for the prestige of doing it? Do they donate their services? Is this something they do out of national pride?
Yeah, it's probably all of those things. I mean, I don't know if there's a donation in the mix. I think it's probably...
Oh, it's all about the money, isn't it?
Well, Stella McCartney also has an apparel line that's for athletic wear, so maybe there's...
Yeah, exactly. Stella McCartney is a designer, you know, like a ready-to-wear designer. She's obviously Paul McCartney's daughter. That's where everybody would know her from. But she does a collection for Adidas, which is the performance wear, and that's what this collection is. It's Stella McCartney and Adidas.
Right.
And are you likely to find this line out after the Olympics is done, and so that regular people can buy into them?
You might find a simplistic version in the respective countries. You know, like we have the collection of the Bay. You know, it's like almost exactly the same thing as what the Olympians are wearing, just slightly different for purchase. But I'm not sure if Stella would be available here. It would be available in England.
Right.
So elements creep in.
Yeah,
I'd love to know what the actual economic and financial bounce is for a designer out of this. I guess it would be really, really hard to nail down, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of depends on the country, because some of the designers that are involved are such massive names, you know, like Armani, Ralph Lauren. I'm not really sure they need the bump. It's probably just an honor. But in terms of Stella McCartney, she is a major designer in terms of the fashion industry, but this is really the creme de la creme for a commission.
Right. Do you think there's going to be a standout this year? Because we saw, like, we had the hat, Vancouver, we had the glove. There was an apparel item that just everyone wanted. Do you see that this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess let's see what happens. But I think that Union Jack, I think, you know, even though there was this controversy at the beginning, I think that's going to be a really cool standout.
How do you think Canada's done? Our designer was the Hudson's Bay company.
Yeah, I mean, it's classic. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it's simple. And you'll see over there with what the athletes were wearing to the opening ceremony was pretty much what they offer at the Hudson's Bay, just slightly, you know,
I could do without
different.
the khakis, to be honest.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess
what would you have?
It just seems kind of dated and so conservative, and it's
not hip enough, I think, for Canada.
That's what I was going to say. What are the critics saying? Because when I saw the Canadian uniforms, you're like, okay, of course that's what they would wear,
Right.
a red jacket with Canada across.
Yeah.
It
Right.
seemed that there was no creativity at all involved in
Right.
trying to design this.
Well, sometimes I don't know, it's almost playing it safe, I guess. You know, sometimes I'm trying to remember which Olympics it was. I think it was Lillehammer or something, and they had these crazy ponchos that looked like we were native, but like just so literally to the point where it was like just almost insulting.
Right.
You know, I guess they were trying to, you know, amalgamate all the different heritages together, but they sort of just didn't do it well. And this is just playing it safe. And
What's with the U.S. wearing what looked like French berets? What was
It's that hat that they're trying to do, I think, from Salt Lake, isn't it?
But I guess what they were saying is now you've got uniforms that are made in China and you've got hats that
Right.
look like berets.
right. I mean,
Talk about missing the mark.
yeah, if you think about classic sportswear, though, you know, getting really technical into fashion history here, but if you think back to what America's first stamp on the fashion industry was, it was sportswear, and it was this look. And I guess that's sort of the very literal heritage take on American
Right.
fashion.
I
Who
guess
did you-
oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, who did you love? I see here Jamaica and Poland are a couple.
I love Jamaica. I think it was the coolest uniform, like just beyond all the other
Yeah, I
ones.
know.
It is so wearable. That actually looks like something that I would buy. That looks.
Yeah, that
you'd
it
wanna
is.
buy
It's
that,
gorgeous, and that's
absolutely.
Bob Marley's daughter. That
Yeah,
designed
Stella
it?
Marley.
wow.
All of his kids are involved in fashion and
Yeah.
some, you know, in some form or another. And their uniforms are so cool. I mean, it's kind of lucky that their colors are nice as it is.
Right, but still, you know. And real quick, your misses are Japan and Spain.
Yeah, Japan is sort of just a little lame. I think it's sort of. They could have done better. Japan is known for their fashion and known for their edgy,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
being
these-
edgy.
Style and all
These
that
kids
sort
need
of
flight
thing.
attendant outfits
That's
on
exactly
Japan
what came
Airlines.
into my head.
Yeah, and it just
when I
feels
saw
like
that.
it just it could have been from like 1984.
With a wee little flag underneath
Yeah.
the pocket,
Yeah.
too.
It's silly.
The Dutch were rocking those.
Well, there's Spain's real quickly.
yeah,
There's
oh, there's
Spain
Spain.
Yeah, Spain is a little bit of a tragedy. They see,
It's like
you
they're in a
know,
marching band in the middle.
or McDonald's. It's sort of
like a race car driver.
Yeah.
Or Michael Jackson.
or just many bad things.
Any one of the five.
You know, speak about, you know, we were talking about Jamaica, that they had such nice colors to work with. Spain, not so much. You know, maybe this would have been the time to subtract one of the colors, work with either yellow or red, you know.
Right.
Spain is also sort of a fashion country. They could have done
These
better.
athletes have such great bodies that you would
Yeah.
think you
Show
want
them
clothes
off.
that enhance that.
Thank you so much, Randi Bergman. She's the online editor at Fashion Magazine. Great to have you here.
Good to be here.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.